Hi everyone, it's Ardith, and today I've got one of the new MFT stamps background stamps called Simple Snowflakes, and I'm using it two ways. The first way is to use it as snow. I started by blending my panel with a frosty trio of bluey-green inks from Catherine Pooler. I started with the new hot tub at the top. I'm blending with my new scrapbook.com domed blenders, and I have to say I'm really loving them. The ink goes on smoothly with no harsh lines and really not a lot of effort. When I finished with the hot tub, I moved on to Skylight, which is a shade darker. I find the middle portions of the blends the hardest because I'm coming in from the sides rather than from the top, and it usually means I have to go back over the blended line with the first ink to try and get a smooth blend. Next, I moved into Daydream, which is quite a bit darker. I find that these inks go on a bit blotchy, but they always smooth out as they dry. And oops, you can see I managed to get a smudge of Daydream into my hot tub area. Let's see a replay. There, my thumb. Ah! Well, I'm not stopping now. I'm going to hope that my stamping covers it, and if it doesn't, I'll come up with another fix. I went over the three areas a bit more, just trying to smooth everything out a bit, and then I set aside the panel to dry. Before I heat embossed, I started by testing that the panel was completely dry by using an anti-static pouch over the whole thing and then dumping sparkling snow embossing powder over top. If the powder doesn't stick at all, then the panel is dry and I can move on. I've got the stamp in my original size MISTI, and I removed the Mousepad to give enough room for the foam on the stamp. I brushed off some of the glitter that got left behind from the embossing powder earlier, and then I went over it again with my anti-static pouch. I inked up the stamp with Wow embossing ink, and I stamped it down a couple of times. I sometimes find it a challenge to work with such big stamps, both from making sure I've got everything inked, and then again later when I'm making sure that every area is fully melted and smooth. So I stamped it twice to make sure I got really good ink coverage, and then I poured the embossing powder over top. This embossing powder is opaque white with glitter in it, and it's fabulous for snow because of the sparkle, but it's because of the texture of that sparkle that I didn't heat emboss first and then do the ink blending after. If you use a smooth powder, you can do a resist technique like that, but I was concerned that the glitter might catch on my blenders and either ruin the blender or lift off some of the sparkle, or both. I placed the panel into a shoebox lid that I've lined with aluminum foil from my kitchen, and I turned on my heat gun to heat up. This tool helps to save my fingers from the risk of burning, and I think that the heat reflects back from the foil and helps to reduce warping. And you can see me working my way very carefully and methodically across the rows of snowflakes, making sure that every single one of them gets melted. Here's a look at the sparkle from that pretty powder. For my sentiment, I used the Joy from last month's Joy Love Peace Die-Namics with the candy stripe O. I cut it 3 times from white cardstock, and I embossed the top layers of the J and the Y with the same sparkling snow powder. Then I stacked each letter up with my Zig 2-way glue pen. For the O, I used Skylight ink on the top solid piece, and then I embossed the starry overlay with that same powder. I used Nuvo Deluxe adhesive and my Make Art station to align and glue the letters down. This magnetic ruler and its centering numbers really helps with placement. I used the Deluxe adhesive because it's much thicker and there's a bit of texture on that panel from the embossed snow. This glue can get down into the nooks and crannies and hold everything firmly in place. To finish off this card, I added some matching sequins from Catherine's Big Sur mix, and I adhered the whole thing to a white card base. And did you notice? My stamping did almost cover up that smudge in the top, but I did end up putting a sequin over top just to hide it completely. My next card is opposite in almost every way. This time, instead of the background being colorful with white snow, my background will be white with rows of tiny pink flowers. I used 3 shades of pink. It's a Girl, Be Mine, and Party Dress, so I guess it's similar to my first card in that way, and ombre from light to dark, top to bottom. It's easy to get a good blend by just inking up only a portion of the stamp each time and then stamping it down. Because I'm not being precise about the placement of my ink pad, the blend occurs pretty naturally. Now, to make these look more like flowers, they need centers. I pulled out my Nuvo crystal drops in mustard gold, and with a steady hand and a little bit of patience, I put down tiny dots on each one. I'll leave the first row in real time so that you can see it really doesn't take that long, but then I'll speed up the rest so you don't fall over from boredom. I'm left-handed, so I work from top to bottom, right to left, so that I'm not in danger of smudging my little flower centers. You would probably work left to right if you're right-handed. See how pretty they are? This card is starting to look really feminine. For this sentiment, I used the same dynamics, but this time I went with the love word, which has a heart for the O. I went direct to paper with the Be Mine ink to create a strip for my sentiment to sit on. This way I know that it will match my card perfectly. And to make the sentiment tie into the background, I put little gold dots on all the letters. In the end, I decided to cut another one of the hearts and make it pink with my party dress ink. I doubled it up with a white heart so that it's well defined from the strip behind it. I popped up the strip with foam tape, and then I put the whole thing on a white card base that I had colored with It's a Girl ink. So the card has one extra element in each of the 3 colors from the background. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up below and subscribe to my channel for more inspiration. Product links are below in the description and also on my blog. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.